Well, Callum Smith, nearly Christmas, no Christmas for you. Beterbiev, obviously, in a few weeks, so we're going to talk more about that in a minute. But Buddy says you're the most laid-back fighter he's ever worked with. And he has to text you when you sat next to him.
I don't say a lot. I think when I speak what I want to say, but I'm not the most. I think Stephen and Paul got all my talkative bits, but we've got a good relationship. We've been working together long enough now, even though we've only had the 2 fights. It's probably my 5th training camp with him, so I think we gel pretty well, both inside the gym and outside the gym. We get on. I enjoy his company, even though I don't say much back.
Cal, I said to Buddy then, and obviously from your point of view, I think I know the answer, but it's now give the delay in August. Most people feel it could only have benefited you. I know people go on about age, but it's more time with Buddy, more time to gel again. I know you've been together a while now, but how hard was it, that setback from August, for it to come back? It was a big setback. It was a big setback.
Yeah,
not a setback. They probably put it back. It was 6 months.
Yeah, it was. I just had to have the way. It's more deflating because I'd done all the hard work. I was getting to the end of camp. I think I had a last couple of spars, which I've still done because I banked on getting a fight in the meantime. So I'd done the hard work, and I know I'm supposed to say, but it was a really good camp. It was a tough camp, but I was in really, really good shape, and it was more just deflating. But I don't want to sound like a spoiled kid, and why me? Because it happens all the time. I pulled out of a fight early in the year with Steppy, and so I do get injuries to happen. It was more the time they were pushing it back till, and obviously January.
It's a long time to wait.
Yeah, I thought they'd push it back to October, November, December time, and I'd have a little bit of time off and then get back to work. But January kind of just put it that little bit further away, and obviously I have to train over Christmas, which isn't ideal, but it's the sport we're in. It's been there. I've done it before previously in the Super Series. I fought in February, so it's not something I'm not used to. I just would have preferred it the other side of Christmas. It was more just frustrating at the time, but more to sit back and analyse it. It probably is beneficial for me more so than him. He's getting a little bit older, and he's now going in with a bit of inactivity, whereas it was just me going in with inactivity last time. So it's kind of leveled the playing field a little bit. And I said, give me more time with Buddy, which I feel every day in the gym with him is valuable. I do feel I improve all the time with him. So I think in the long run, it probably will work out better.
You're nearly there now as well. Obviously, it's the new year now. Christmas was cancelled for you. You just had to concentrate on Beterbiev. But again, going out to Canada, it's a funny time, isn't it? I mean, again, Christmas just behind. I mean, you'll have a few of your people out there, but probably not as many, I suppose, with the time of year it is and everything else. It's quite a tricky place to get to. It's Quebec City again, isn't it? I just say
Flemo, as you know, Cal's mate Flemo, character, said this just about sums Callum up. Awkward as ever, as us all flying to Canada, the middle of nowhere, in January when everyone's skint. So, but there's still going to be good support out there.
Yeah, so I still get the offer coming over to support me, and I think one of them, I think it's a good fight regardless of where it is or what time it is. But I think in the summer when it was a lot better weather and people had the time off work, it was probably a little bit more appealing than a couple of weeks after Christmas in the snow, and it's a completely different place, winter to summer. But no, it'd
be lovely though, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it'd be good. Change. Andy will tell you, some of the places I've been through boxing, I've had some great tips. I went to Russia with Liam a couple of years ago, and we had a good time over there, regardless, and obviously result aside. But boxing takes you some places that you probably wouldn't visit if it wasn't for boxing. So no, I've got to be grateful in that sense. But I'm there to do a job and to go and become a world champion again, which I fully feel I'm good enough and capable of doing.
Well, we made mention of the laid-back nature of this fella, but with you going in the Lions Den before with Canelo, you've done that. You've travelled for that. You've got to do the same again. He's a naturalised Canadian now, so he's on home turf. But I know the answer. I don't even know why I'm asking. Does any of that ever bother you? Do you ever think about any of that, or is it just about, well, as long as I get a fair shake with the officials, I'm not bothered? Is that pretty much it?
Yeah, I think that's what all fighters think. I think sometimes the thought of going into someone's backyard, it's weirdly exciting, and that makes sense. As much as fighting at home's brilliant and having the home support with you, and when a fight gets tough, it's always good to know you've got that noise behind you to pull you through it. But I've never been fazed with travelling. I've boxed on the road many times, and if anything, I feel the trip abroad gets me more switched on and more focused and away from distractions. But no, as I said, as long as you bank on getting a fair shake, which I believe I will, and the type of fight it is, I don't really see it going 12 rounds anyway. So I've just work every day in here with Buddy to come up with the right game plan to go over there and do a job and beat him convincingly to the point where he can't take the decision away from me. So it's, you'd have a long boxing career, but some people are lucky if they get one world title shot, maybe two, and they don't come around often, and not being given a shot at 3 world titles in one hit, and I plan on taking it.
Cal, just sort of something a little bit different here, which I think for people listening in, that's interesting. S&C, the great Johnny Reynolds. Yeah. He's labelled this as the Russ Abner Derby. Tell us a little bit about it for those who don't know.
Yeah, obviously Russ, he's a great hand rapper, one of the best I've ever used. He's one of the best in the world, and he's also a cutman, and he's done mine for a number of years now, but he's also done Beterbiev for a number of years. So when he kind of knew this fight was muted, he was getting a little bit uncomfortable. He knew it was going to happen, and then he was saying to me, "Why don't you just go to cruiserweight? You're big enough. You'll win a world title up there." And he's kind of tried to avoid it, and I think obviously it was inevitable it was going to happen. And to be fair to him, he's decided to sit out and sit on the fence. He hasn't chose one side over the other, which I think shows his loyalty to both of us, and it's costing him a payday, which I know he's probably not too happy about, but I'm sure he'll be able to work with me after I've won, and I wish Beterbiev a happy retirement.
I think there's a little bit of sourness though from Anthony on this one, because didn't you, when you went over and boxed Lomachenko?
Yeah, I used to wind him up.
He was in Lomachenko's corner, wasn't he?
I heard him jumping up and down when I was facing the canvas. No, I didn't really. Russ is a good guy. Russ is a great guy, and unbelievable like Callum Smith. I've been lucky enough to win hands, and I think he's certainly the best I've had. But I knew he was uncomfortable.
He's in a group chat with us all. Yeah. Johnny always keeps putting little digs in and tagging him in, and he just doesn't reply to them all. But no, it's good. It's a good laugh, and I think even from Russ's point of view, I think it's a good fight to watch for the neutral. Probably it'll be a little bit awkward for him, but I think he knows it's two of the best light heavyweights in the world, and it was inevitable that it was going to happen.
You were obviously a training partner of Callum Johnson when he boxed him a few years back now. Put him down pretty heavy as well. Again, do you look at that and think, well, there's the blueprint? It's a nice hook that you've got one of them as well.
Yeah, mine's not too bad, to be fair. But I think I've not just for this fight. I've always said in the past, if it's the same, like when I fought George Groves, I knew how good a fighter he was. But if I've seen you hurt off someone else, it gives me full belief that I can do the exact same. I think if you were to fight someone like a Golovkin who's never been hurt, never been wobbled, you think, well, if they couldn't do it, what makes me think I can? But whereas if I've seen it done before, it gives me full 100% confidence that I can do it, and I've seen 2 people have him over as a professional. So as much as people create he's this beast and this monster, he's knocked everyone out his fault, but he's not invincible. He can be hurt, he can be put down, and if you're there to be hit and you're there to be hurt, then you're there to be finished. And I just believe everything happens for a reason, and the timing's right, and I don't believe he retires unbeaten. I think someone will beat him at some point, and I believe that will be me.
I know your brother Paul is not too shy on social media, but I feel like he's right in here and I'm backing what I'm saying. The amount of do you feel in any way, I don't know about Beterbiev, but there's a lot of people overlooking you, just talking about a Beterbiev fight has to happen, and obviously the plans to put a spanner right in the works. But do you feel disrespected by that at all?
Yeah and no. I think a lot. Look at the fight. I'd like to see the fight if they're fighting each other next. It's a good fight. At the minute, there are 2.
Yeah, it'd be one of the best fights.
The only 2 champions in the light heavyweight division. But I feel it's disrespectful when there's people within boxing who work in boxing who are posting it when they think it's obvious I'm fighting them in January. If my fight wasn't scheduled, then okay, fair enough. But I think it's a little bit disrespectful knowing I am fighting them, and look, I'm not the favourite, but I'm former world champion, world number 1. I feel I've earned me right for this fight, and I feel I don't want underdog. I'm definitely a live underdog, and I plan on going there and ripping the script up. So I believe I'll have the last laugh. But I don't see the disrespect in terms of boxing fans, but it's more so that people say within the sport who are putting it up. I think it's a little bit disrespectful. But again, it doesn't bother me too much. I focus on myself, and as long as the best version of turns up. I've had the same belief for many years now. The best version of me can beat anyone on the planet, and I fully believe that. I still stand by that.
Despite, you would have wanted to be more active. That's obvious. But with everything that's gone on with his injury or whatever. But do you feel now with the light heavy thing, and I know it's been thrown at you so many times, but the super middleweight thing just always seems mad. It always just seems bonkers that you were a super middleweight. Is light heavy easy?
No, let's say people think when you move up, you get to eat up to the weight and all that, and it sounds a lot, but it's about 3 kilos, and it's 3 kilos when. No, I think I didn't realise it enough at the time, but I definitely had 168. It was taken away from me performances, and I always knew throughout my career I'd end up at 175. I just didn't know when, and it was only when I finally made the jump up I realised how much my body needed it. And obviously I've had 2 fights now under Buddy, and I think the changes all kinds of come at the same time, at the right time. Probably the age I was hitting, I went into my 30s, I teamed up with Buddy and I moved to 175, and the 3 of them together kind of clicked pretty well, and I believe I'm a completely different fighter now than what I was, say, 3 years ago. So I'm excited, and I think the time to become a world champion is now. I think it's now or never. I've waited a long time for it, and it's an opportunity I don't plan on letting slip.
Is it fair that it's kind of given you a massive new lease of life? Because you could have walked away even after the Groves fight. You know, you've achieved everything then and all the rest of it. But now with the new weight, with Buddy, are you a bit revitalised? Because obviously you're the other side of 30 now. And, you know, you made a few quid. You could have had it, and you always kind of were one that didn't live and breathe boxing.
You're
happy away from the gym, if you know what I mean.
I get what you mean. And I always kind of, I'm not saying because you always use him as an example, as in I was there when he retired, and part of me was a little bit like envious, as in he's done it all, he's finished, and I knew he was kind of content with his career and happy. And you'd be very surprised. It's a very small percentage of fighters who can honestly say they're happy with how the career finished and how it went. And I just didn't want to. I knew I still had more to go, and I knew at the same time he'd probably give Everton to be in my position. I was world champion at the time, in probably my prime and my best years. So I think if he could have switched, he probably would have switched with me. But I just knew, like I said, I could have walked away after Groves, could have walked away after Canelo, and I was financially set up. I'd been a world champion, so I'd tick that box what, say, 9-year-old Callum wanted to tick. It was more, I knew I'd have always sat and wondered, I could have done more, I could have done this, and I wouldn't have been content and happy with what I'd done. So I knew I had to carry on, and knew I had to achieve that little bit more, and I feel that's why I still train the way I do, because I'm not motivated by anything other than achievements. I know what I'm capable of achieving. I know I can be a 2-division world champion, and so that's why I'm here, and I'm 1 fight away from achieving it, and then I will be satisfied, and then be a little bit more like Anthony, and I can sit back and relax.
You're not going to just quit if you beat Beterbiev, are you?
No, I think I'll try and go for undisputed then. I think that's the thing. What I realised when I won my first world title, you can't. I always thought world champion was the top of the tree, and the minute I got there, you kind of always. I think as a fighter, you always want more. You're never fully satisfied. You're always chasing, and I think I'll still be that way. But I think I know once I retire, if I'm a 2-weight world champion, deep down I know I've achieved everything I feel I was capable of achieving.
Cal, finally from me. How have you enjoyed having, like, I know a lot of times you'll fly out to Buddy and stuff like that, but how have you enjoyed having all the camp here in Liverpool? Has it made a difference?
Yeah, it's been good. Obviously, I do like going over there and stuff. I think missus are a little bit happier. I can give it a touch with the school run and stuff, so it's a little bit easier with life at home. But it's good, as in the gym's quite busy this year. Obviously, the other camp that's based here, Josh Taylor. A lot of the fighters who were fighting just after Christmas as well, whereas when the fight got put back to January, that was my initial reaction.
I'm not going to be alone.
I'm going to be on my own over Christmas, but there's a lot, like little Frankie's going to be January, I think Taylor's going to be February, obviously got Shannon, I think it's going to be February, so the gym's in a good place at the minute, which
it's good to be around, of course, pushing you around.
I'm with Buddy, we train at the same time, so it's a good atmosphere, it does get you through them days where you wake up, you're sore, you can't really be bothered, so that's been a bit of a buzz, and I think Buddy, he's getting in with the Scouts lingo. He has a good laugh for all the lads, and the day crowd were cracking and stuff. So it's been a good atmosphere, and the camp's going well so far, and a long may continue.
Good.
There's a bit of life left in the Smith brothers yet, in terms of obviously Stephen and Paul have retired and doing their own thing now, doing different things. Obviously Stephen's coaching now as well, isn't he? Liam, still there. Yourself, still there. So you're still keeping this amazing story going. The most successful British fighting family, I think. There's no one that really, you got to say.
Absolutely.
The Yaffis have done great things. The Walshes in Norfolk have done great things. But
Edwards,
really, it's kind of, when you finally do
Yeah.
you and Liam hang it up. It's what's
It's going to
next?
be the
Who's
next
gonna come through?
generation. Little Paul's coming
I
through.
said little Paul's coming through. Obviously, Steven's
Frankie
down to
started,
coach now. He couldn't, but he's football. Hopefully, stays football as well. I think. But yeah, no, I think as a family, it's all we've ever known boxing. So I think we're always gonna stay in and around boxing. I'm glad to see Stephen finally get back involved. I think he'd have been a waste if he didn't stay in and around boxing. I think he needs that break away from it to kind of come to terms with a clean break from his own career. But it's good to see him back, and he's got a bit of a spring in his step now. He's enjoying it, being back in the gym. So it'll be interesting to see how he goes. I think he'll be a very, very good coach. Obviously, Paul's doing the managing, and Liam will probably fight till he's about 50, I think. And then I'm not too sure what I'll do, but I'd say boxing's all we've ever known. It's been such a big part of our life. I don't think he'll be able to just cut ties and completely walk away.
So Stephen's a coach. He's a coach now as well. Obviously, you've trained together for years and years. I mean, is that something that you can imagine setting up your own little camp like Crawler has?
Possibly. Look, I think I enjoy the coaching side. I don't know from a selfish point of view. I think it's a very time to be the best coach. It's time consuming. You've got to be able to put it in, and I've given enough to my own career. Would I be able to give it to someone else? I'm not too sure. Maybe if I had a break from the sport, it'd give me that back. But I think I'd find more enjoyment doing the amateurs. I think when I'm in the year, I help out with the kids on the bags, and I think that's a little bit less stressful, more enjoyable. Whereas I think pro coaching, it's more the business side of it. There's a lot more at stake, and I think it's a little bit more.
I say it all the time, like the amateurs get the most joy out of the amateurs.
And I've asked you this before. We'll wrap this up now, but in terms of the Smiths, now when all the brothers used to talk about Callum, didn't they?
Yeah.
They always said Callum's the one. You obviously too modest to talk about that, but you've always said that like if you put a little bit of a Smith,
you'd have
take a bit from each one of them. So what would you do with each of the Smiths? Which bit would you take?
Okay, I would say Callum, listen, natural. I think that's the obvious one.
Yeah.
Liam Smith, natural ability. Beef is just ability to sort of fight in the pocket, be comfortable. I think Paul was so correct.
Yeah.
Technically, Paul very heavy-handed as well. I think your man over there, I'd say. But this lad can punch a bit as well. And then I just think Stephen, he was such a hard worker. Callum was as well, but I think the dedication. I always say Stephen deserves so much more than what he got out of boxing. I really believe that. It sounds really bad. I've mentioned a few things. I'm struggling for this one.
And good all round, I think a little bit of each.
He's got a bit of each. He's got a bit of each. Listen, not just the punch power, technical reps. I always say it. I know I'm bigging him up, but I say it to amateur kids, watch Callum Smith, how he does this and that. So there's a little bit of crossover to him, but I think that's the perfect fighter. I really do.
And Liverpool as a fighting city, again, gyms like this obviously are absolutely buzzing and thriving, but it's always been so strong, amateur and pro. Do you feel that it's still the number one in terms of talent, raw talent coming through?
I don't know. It's hard to say number one. Like there's a lot of, say, Manchester, good City, you've
Sheffield
got up the northeast, Sheffield, you're barely up in the northeast, they produce a lot. So I think boxing's in a really good place at the moment. I'm not sure what's going to happen with the amateurs, with the Olympics and stuff, but I think it's just different places thrive at different times, and then even in the pro scene you see different camps are hot at one point, and he's doing very, very well at the minute. In the Rotunda there's a lot of good fighters coming through here, but it's just exciting to be a part of it. British boxing in a very good place, has been for a number of years now, and as long as I can,
that's why you're not going anywhere.
Come out to the time and get back active again. But no, I say there's a lot of good fighters coming through, and more so Liverpool. So you got your McGrails and stuff who are on the way through now. Is a very, very good fighter. So it's good. I think definitely they'll produce a few more world champions over the next few years. Fingers crossed.
Well, enjoy the Canadian adventure and all the best against the beast from the east.
Yeah, thank you.